It's fast, riveting, and to the point. Welcome to The Week in One, the show that helps you catch up with the top news stories and interviews featured on ENCA over the past 7 days. Let's take a look at what made headlines this week. I'm Baron Hafke. Police are probing a shooting in a Zachariah Park that claimed the life of Rand Water executive Tbo Jala and his protector. Widespread reaction to the ANC suspension of its former president, Jacob Zuma. And the auction of 70 personal items and treasured gifts that belonged to Nelson Mandela has been suspended after an outcry from the South African Heritage Resources Agency. It's not clear yet why Rand Water executive Tbo Jala and his bodyguard were shot dead. What is clear, though, is that the hit was clearly for him. Jala was attending a back-to-school event with children present when a gunman walked in, waited for him to walk to the podium, and then fired multiple shots at him. Heidi Jokos reports.
Rand Water executive Tbo Jala was gunned down on Monday together with his bodyguard at a back-to-school event. 3 other people were wounded, including City of Johannesburg Chief Whip Tbo Jala. Jala normally had 5 protectors with him, but on this day, he only had 3. 1 was outside in the car and 2 were inside the hall with him. One eyewitness says she saw it all happen right in front of her and hundreds of school pupils.
As we were starting the event, a man came in and went straight to the chairperson of the board of Rand Water and started shooting at him several times. And the councillor Zungu, who was sitting next to the chairperson of the board of Rand Water, ran away from the scene because everybody was shocked. Everybody was running away. So he was trying to run away as well. And then this man shot him as well. The one who came inside was one man. The one who came inside. It was one person, and he went straight to the executive of Rand Water. But while he was shooting inside, there were also gunshots outside, of which the bodyguard of the executive of Rand Water was shot dead as well. And my car was also damaged in the process.
The ANC in Johannesburg says it's concerned about police visibility.
Councillor Tbo Jala is doing very well. He is stable, currently in hospital. And we are told that he got wounded on the arm and also on the leg. The medical personnel are busy with him now. No, look, we don't want to speculate as things stands now. Safe to say we allow the police to do their work, to do their investigation, and when they are done, they should be able then to brief the public about what really happened.
Rand Water has declined any interviews at this stage to allow for investigations to conclude. No arrests have been made yet. Heidi Jokos in Johannesburg.
The Mandela family remains divided on the auction of the late statesman's belongings. While the auction has been suspended for now, whether the items can be sold will be decided by the courts. ENCA senior reporter Slindelo Masekane has more.
From his iconic suits to his trademark shirts and the very ID book he used to vote in South Africa's first democratic elections, these and more items were destined to be sold to the highest bidder. But the South African Heritage Resource Agency says it won't let this happen without a fight. The agency has convinced the auction house to suspend the sale for now.
With this matter still being considered by the courts, we felt that we needed to remind them and compel them to suspend the auction pending the outcome of the appeal judgment.
Madiba's own family isn't in agreement about the sale either.
The ID document and the hearing aids, for me, those 2 items were mainly of a bit of concern for me. Other items were of concern to other family members and so forth. And a lot of the things actually were concerned to the great majority of South Africa. There are some that are against, 100% against the auction proceeding. Look, I wanted to actually see the auction go through so I could actually see if the money that was raised were actually filtered through to the said memorial garden that was going to be erected.
In Qunu, Mandela's home and final resting place, relatives say they found out about the auction on the news.
I don't know whether they agree as immediate Mandela family, but Mandla, he said to me, he's not part of that. Yes, I'm against such an auction. We are selling our soul. We are selling our culture, our pride. That means money can buy anything. In our culture, you consult elders, especially when you're going to take drastic decisions like this.
Officials at the Nelson Mandela Museum say the state must ensure the auction never happens.
Let this government of South Africa ensure through the rightful authorities that such belongings are taken back to Nelson Mandela Museum, because that is where they actually belong.
On its website, the auction house gives no reasons why the sale has been suspended. Meanwhile, the Arts and Culture Department says it will continue to appeal the High Court judgment that relates to what it describes as the prohibited export of Madiba's items. Slindalo Masigane, Johannesburg.
Police Minister Becky Cele and Justice Minister Ronald Lamola have attended the court appearance of a father and son accused of assaulting a security guard. The Limpopo town of Groblersdal has been on the edge during their appearance. Heidi Jokos has more.
So both the Minister of Police, Becky Cele, and the Minister of Justice, Ronald Lamola, are currently attending a court case, Masakon. Just for context purposes, this is a matter where it involves two farmers that are being accused of assaulting one of their workers. We know that from the bail application, it's believed that the two farmers unleashed their dog onto their worker, and we know that they also are believed and accused of injecting an unknown substance into the worker after he was severely bitten by the dog. But that's not necessarily why the minister is here, or both ministers are here. It's got to do with the fact that last week when the two appeared here in court, there were some tensions that erupted outside of court with supporters of the two farmers that were here and also have believed to be walking around allegedly with the old South African flag. And this is why the Justice Minister was here to say that everybody has the right to express themselves and to be here to protest in whatever form they wish, but it should be done legally and respectively, especially that we know the old South African flag has been declared as hate speech by a high court. We also know that a number of political parties are also here expressing their dissatisfaction to what actually happened to the victim. Both ministers indicating that there is no place for any racial tensions and that this town, Groblersdal, they believe is a problematic one when it comes to racial tensions, as this is not the first time this particular court has had to deal with cases that are linked to some sort of tension. I'm going to move out of shots, Masakho, and just give you an indication of what we're currently seeing. So you have political parties from the EFF, the ANC, as well as ACDP that are present here. A high police presence. We are seeing over 6 police senyalas that are currently here. You're seeing many boots on the ground. You saw police putting up a guard in terms of trying to protect and make sure that nobody goes beyond a line.
The defense in the Sizwe Mua murder trial alleges that a lawyer who represented accused number 2 at his second confession and in court was a cop. This emerged during cross-examination of lead investigator Bongani Gininda in the trial within a trial. Ian says Mangoba Mqunu reports.
Accused number 2, Bongani Ntanzi, maintains he did not know or instruct lawyer Ntokozo Mjiyako to represent him in the Meyiwa murder case. Mjiyako was present during Ntanzi's second confession at the Boksburg Magistrates Court. But in yet another twist in the trial within a trial, the defense has now alleged that Mjiyako worked for the police prior to the confession.
Do you know that Mjiyako has been a member of the SAPS up until 2017? No, 2016, sorry.
No, I wouldn't know, my lord.
You don't know that?
No, I wouldn't know. We didn't discuss that. And we are not acquainted, and I never worked with him. If he was in the police, I certainly didn't come across him or interacted with him in any matter.
He used the firearms to kill people.
And an insinuation that Ntanzi's confession may have been a setup.
In this matter, when you were investigating this matter, you testified that you were working with the Crime Intelligence Unit. Am I correct?
I said it was driven, crime intelligence driven operation. So there was intelligence gathering that was present. That's correct, Madam.
And Mjiako was working in the unit of crime intelligence unit. You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know, my lord. As I said, and I'm repeating it without fear of contradiction, my lord, I've never worked with him. If he was in the police, I've never come across him. That was my first time, my lord.
Meanwhile, accused one Muzga Kulela Sibia also told the court in July of 2020 that he was assaulted at the Silverton police station.
After receiving that complaint in terms of this act, this is what we are supposed to do, to report the complaint to the Independent Directorate, Police Investigative Directorate, to investigate the complaint, which was made by the accused in court. Did you do that?
Matters that get registered today to IP, council needs to understand the police has a case data system. Matters get registered. Another way to get, I refer to this matter as A1. That is a complainant statement, because someone needs to allege that this is what happened. Subsequently, the case docket of assault, DPH, torture, whatever the case may be, will be registered, captured on the police system. That's how it works. That's the system. It must be captured on the police data, then referred to IPIT.
CBI and Tanza both disputing their confessions, insisting they were not made freely and voluntarily. Kininda has now wrapped up his testimony, and on the stand is a station commander from the Silverton police station who's said to dispute CBI's claims of assault. Manqoba Mchunu, Pretoria.
Stay tuned to Week in One. Coming up, we look at some of the big interviews done by our anchors and reporters this week. Welcome back to Week in One. I'm Baron Hafke. The ANC has suspended former President Jacob Zuma from the party. This comes after he announced he would be campaigning for the newly formed Umkhonto we-Sizwe party. ANC anchor Tamin Gubeni spoke to political analyst Professor Beki Mgomezulu.
So the president then and the ANC, in fact, is correct in saying that they are suspending the former president, because you cannot summarily dismiss someone when the constitution of the ANC, especially section 25, is very clear about the processes that need to be followed.
And what has this time given to the former president, Jacob Zuma? What has the ANC realized during the time from the announcement of the MK as a party and the announcement that Jacob Zuma will be voting for the MK and not the ANC? What impact has that had?
I think that the ANC has come to the realization that right now they have nothing to lose, because it's clear that MK is now enjoying support across the country, and then, of course, more especially in different provinces like KwaZulu-Natal, Gauteng, and others where they've already had rallies. So they've now come to the realization that whatever we do, whatever we don't do, the writing is on the wall that we have a problem. But this time around, they to decide if they don't have to act at all, or if they must act. Then they decided to act, because if they didn't act, then it would mean that it will be difficult for them to apply Section 25, especially 0.60, which then spells out what happens if someone is found to have been in violation of the constitution of the ANC. So I think that they've been treading carefully, understandably so. But the biggest mistake that the leadership of the ANC has done was to address the issue in the media. You recall that a number of them have been basically canvassing for the former president, unknowingly so. Each time they were given a podium, instead of saying things they were supposed to say, they ended up talking about the former president. And in the process, they canvassed for him.
ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa says the party is not afraid to dismiss Zuma, but he says it decided to suspend him in line with the ANC constitution. Anchor Dan Moyane had this one-on-one interview with the president earlier this week.
Why not expel him from the ANC? Why suspend him?
Well,
because he's come out to say, I'm going to campaign for this party.
Yes.
He's come out to say, if we don't get two-thirds majority, we'll destabilize South Africa.
Yes.
As you say, well, his people are saying that.
Yes, that's right.
I mean, that's something that should be very serious. Why is the ANC still leaving him in? Because when you suspend him, according to your constitution, and that clause that Fikile Mbalula, the Secretary General, read out earlier to media today, it's very clear that it's either an interim or temporary or a suspension because he says he's a member.
Yes.
But he's going against everything that you stand for from what you've just said.
Yes.
Why not expel him?
Well, you see, we are beholden to our constitution because our constitution has been crafted in a way that gives whoever is a member the opportunity to be able to present themselves.
But
the Constitution also says...
He can't say he's a member, but he's campaigning from Sizwe.
Yes.
He's been holding rallies,
yes,
different parts of the country,
that's
including
right.
this past weekend.
Yeah.
Clearly not wearing the yellow you are wearing.
Yes,
he's
indeed.
wearing a different color now.
Yes.
He's not a member of the ANC by his behavior.
Yeah.
Why are you still holding on to the constitution of the ANC when he has said publicly he doesn't like this ANC of Ramaphosa? He in fact is going to campaign against it.
Yeah. But he still says, I'm still a member of the ANC, and that is why we, in terms of the natural justice that is enshrined in our constitution, have to follow the dictates of our constitution. In terms of Rule 2560, we then have to say that there are exceptional circumstances that lead us, in terms of our constitution, to suspend him. And we will then embark on a process, a fairly straightforward process of dealing with him in terms of our constitution.
Advocate Gerry Nel, who represents Sizwe Mua's mother on a watch brief, has been consistent in saying the football player's death was a contract killing. But does the mother believe Kelly Khumalo ordered the hit? ENCA's Lindelo Masekane sat down with Nel in this ENCA exclusive.
Just go back to 2019 when AfriForum stepped in for the Mayo family, and it looked as though we were going to go ahead with a private prosecution. Just remind us what happened.
It's good that we get perspective of what happened. But 5 years after the murder of Sizwe Mua, the family walked into our office and saying that nothing happened. There's been promises by the Minister of Police, promises by police generals that something will happen, but nothing happened. So what we then did is they briefed us to support them. And the first thing we did is we quickly realized that the police team that investigated the matter at that time, that wouldn't be able to solve the murder. So that's where we got involved. And we then succeeded in getting Brigadier Ganinda and his team on the matter, and they did brilliantly. We worked with them, and they did real sterling police work. And I'm sure that now, after we've heard all this evidence, that more and more people will agree that it seems that we don't have a robbery that went wrong, but the opposite, really, a contract killing, and that there's some kind of instruction to kill Sizwe Mua.
Any concerns about the pace of this trial?
Obviously. I think, for the family, the mother of the deceased, having to wait this long just to get closure, to understand what happened. But as far as our clients are concerned, we shared our views with them from day one. They wouldn't have been surprised about what happened in the last week or two in court because we shared with them our views and they accepted our views, although there are lots of other views.
How crucial then are these alleged confessions that we're hearing in the trial within a trial?
Evidence was led in a trial within a trial. That's only admissible in the trial within a trial. It's not admissible in the proper trial.
You've praised Brigadier Bongani Ganinda for the work that's been done in the evidence that's been collected so far, but he's been accused of being a dirty cop.
I'm not saying he's not or he is, but what I'm saying is I've learned through lots of experience with prosecuting matters that if the going gets tough, an accused will do whatever they can not to be convicted or, to get evidence that should be admitted thrown out of court. I'm not saying it happened in this case, but what I'm saying is I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by allegations that Brigadier Ganinda is a dirty cop, but let us wait till the end.
Coming up after the break, we count the costs of the veld fires in the Western Cape, and a stray bullet claims the life of a pupil at a Mitchells Plain primary school. Well, Welcome back to Week in One. I'm Baron Hafke. Alleged underworld boss Nafis Modak and his 14 co-accused were in the dock to answer to over 100 charges, which include murder and attempted murder. The trial finally got underway this week, with all 15 accused pleading not guilty. Aisha Ismail tells us more.
Over the past 3 days, the state painted a picture of how dangerous and violent the accused are. It's alleged they acted in concert and in common purpose with various others, in contravention of the Prevention of Organized Crime Act. They either belonged to two separate gangs or acted in the interest of these gangs. The state says they killed, they attempted to kill, they kidnapped, extorted their victims, and laundered money. While some remained silent because they have no legal representation just yet, others made their voices heard.
1, accused 10, 11.
Zain Killian, allegedly acting on instructions from Modak, is accused of pinging the phones of several people, tracking them over a period of time. These include lawyer William Booth, anti-gang unit members, and rival gang bosses. Charles Kinnear, who was investigating Modak and police corruption, was pinged more than 2,000 times to establish his location. This is prior to his assassination in September 2020. The case continues. Aisha Ismail, Cape Town.
Devastating fires have been burning in the Western Cape's Breede River Valley and Witzenberg region. Since flaring up a week ago, the fire has consumed thousands of hectares of vegetation. ENCA's Kevin Brunt has more on the story.
Firefighting efforts in Pringle Bay in the Overstrand municipality continues as dozens of firefighters are now deployed to contain and protect the fire that's now rapidly been moving towards this roadway in the community. Firefighters on the ground are now presently trying to extinguish this fire line, and word from the officials on the ground is that they managed to safeguard those homes there, but all efforts now underway as they keep a watchful eye on this fire line rapidly approaching this roadway. Just further down the line, we saw earlier today how 4 housing structures have been destroyed. Also, part of a hotel was also damaged within that area there. So there are various groups of firefighters now deployed 1 year and a number of them further up on this roadway closer to the community there. But we do expect these activities to play out throughout the rest of the evening, as officials earlier today indicated that changing wind conditions plays a key role and prevents them actually from containing this fire in full.
And finally, the Muslim Judicial Council in Cape Town is calling for urgent action by both national and local police. This follows the killing of a schoolgirl at a Mitchells Plain primary school. Community activists say no child will attend the school until police are visible in the area. ENCA's Nobasutu Hejana reports.
The gates to the Ikhlasnia Primary School in Beacon Valley remain closed. A shooting claimed the life of 12-year-old Firdaus Kleinsmith. She was playing with her friends behind these trees on the school's premises when a bullet hit her. Her family is in shock.
She was very special. She was a special child. Lots of love for everybody. She was very shy, didn't like showing emotion. But we knew that what was in her heart.
Activists are demanding more to be done to fight the worsening crime in the community. The Community Policing Forum is urging parents not to protect their children who are involved in criminal activities.
What we want to see in our communities is doors being kicked off, doors being bashed in, and to search not just for guns, but for all people doing crime and criminality. And that is fine in between. Apologies and condolences is no longer accepted.
The Muslim Judicial Council has called on Police Minister Bheki Cele to step in to stop the violence on the Cape Flats.
We're appealing to the Minister of Police. Please, sir, you hold the position. You have the resources. You need to do something here. We are appealing to our local government. You have the resources. Stop the infighting, because we are dying on the streets. Our children are dying on the streets.
A suspect has been arrested.
Sterling around-the-clock investigative work led to the arrest of a 27-year-old male in Eastridge, Mitchells Plain, on a charge of murder.
Meanwhile, parents have vowed to keep their children at home if police fail to increase visibility. Sizwe Jala, Cape Town.
And that's a wrap from Weekend 1 from myself and the team. Have a great weekend.